Comrades, I want to bring to you the fraternal greetings of NIPSA to this conference. I'm Pádraig Mulholland. I'm the Deputy General Secretary of NIPSA. I'm a revolutionary socialist, and I am part of the revolutionary socialist and left leadership of our union, and we are in the process of building a fighting democratic red union for now and for the future. Comrades, NIPSA is the largest union in Northern Ireland, but we stand beside our brothers and sisters from a whole raft of other unions. We work closely with them. We listen to what they have to say. We patiently discuss and we explain. And over a period of time, we'll work closely with people to achieve victories for working class people and prepare for the future. Our links to you in the British trade union movement are extremely important to us. We're not a TUC affiliate, we're an affiliate of the Irish Congress of Trade Unions. But nowhere were those links brought forward to me better than last week, when I had the privilege of announcing from a platform in Belfast that the combined Trades Councils of London had sent a message of solidarity and support to the anti-racist movement that was facing down the far right. That, comrades, that message of solidarity sent a message through the crowd who were stood in Belfast that they did not stand alone. Thank you for that. Comrades, we face many of the same issues, but we have slightly different conditions and slightly different political dispensations. In Northern Ireland, we are currently in a financial and political crisis. The Northern Ireland Assembly is again teetering on the brink of collapse, and the reason again that it is teetering on the brink of collapse is a budget crisis. Comrades may not be aware, but 2 years ago, in 2024, there was a public sector general strike in Northern Ireland, and as a consequence of that general strike, very significant gains were made. Austerity, in effect, did not arrive in Northern Ireland in a meaningful way. Additional money was brought into the Northern Ireland budget, and for a period of time, it held off the worst of the Labour attacks on working class people. But that money ran out on the 1st of April this year, so Northern Ireland received an underfunded budget, but also the loss of the additional money, some 1.8 billion in an 18 billion budget for the whole of the North, the loss of that money, but also clearly revealed now Northern Ireland has been underfunded in comparison to other areas within the UK. So Northern Ireland receives less per capita funding based on need than either Scotland or Wales. That sends its own message to people in Northern Ireland and clearly illustrates the underlying deep crisis that exists in our society. Comrades, at this moment in time, the political parties are fighting with Westminster to try and get more money into the budget. We, as a trade union, have sent a very clear message to the Northern Ireland political parties. When you come back with this budget, it must be a needs-based budget, it must address pay, it must address public service underfunding, and it must address the social and economic crisis that now underlines the whole of society. If it does not do, we will fight you, and we will fight Westminster. So, comrades, that economic and political crisis does not sit in isolation. You will be aware that 2 weeks ago, there was an outburst of extreme violence in the north, particularly in the Belfast area. There was a race riot that went on for 3 days and nights. There was a trigger event that the far right had been waiting for, and then the far right put their troops on the streets. They issued instructions: come dressed in black, come masked up, come prepared to be arrested. It was a direct instruction to come out and carry out a race riot. And comrades, at the end of those events, 500 people had been burned out of their homes, burned out and driven out of their areas. And the state had no response or reply. What the state did was, where there were barricades, where there were far-right thugs blocking hospitals, and hospital workers had to navigate their way through those barricades, the police told those immigrant workers, show your National Health Service pass to get through the barricades of the far right. Think of the message that that sends. Think of what that tells you about the level of race violence that is now taking place in the north of Ireland and is also taking place right across the UK. Those were grim days, comrades. Those 3 or 4 days were grim days. But they were also the best of days, because the working class responded. It wasn't the working class who were carrying out the race pogrom. It was the far right. The working class were opposed to them. In community after community, community groups went in and they brought people out of their homes while they were under attack and protected them. The community set up patrols to keep the racists out of their areas. The trade union movement also responded. On day one, the first tentative protest was held in Belfast city centre. On day two, health workers protested. And on the Saturday after the race riots, tens of thousands of workers and anti-racists came into the centre of Belfast, despite the riots, despite the fear, and protested against the far right. And comrades, at that protest, the trade unions were front and centre. NASUWT, INTO, an Irish Teaching Trade Union, NIPSA, Unison, Unite, SIP2, the biggest trade union in the south of Ireland, and the FBU stood strong, stood proud, and sent the message. And comrades, it did push the far right back. It sent a warning. It told them this far and no further. That's what happened that Saturday. But let's be clear, the danger has not gone away. We were damn lucky that there was no child burned to death in Belfast. We were damned lucky that there was no public servant killed in Belfast. That's how close we came. So I have come to this conference today with a message, comrades, from NIPSA. We proposed at that mass rally, and we are following up. Our view is now is the time to set up an anti-racist resistance network. That anti-racist resistance network should be anti-sectarian and cross-community. That it should fight for decent homes, jobs, public services, and living standards for all, because we recognise the poverty and degradation in communities. That is the ground that the far right are using to build their forces. That it should argue for and implement disciplined self-defence of communities under attack and of demonstrations. And, comrades, and if we reach the horrific point where it goes so far as a death, or it goes so far that whole communities are shattered, then we as a trade union movement must be ready to respond. And we are proposing this for the response. Learning the lessons from Northern Ireland, learning the lessons from the conflict in the north. When things go too far, consciousness changes. People are ready to struggle. People are ready to take to the streets. When that moment comes, the trade union movement must be ready, and it must call for a general stoppage of every single workplace, public and private, and take to the streets. Comrades, in every aspect, we must prepare for active resistance in the trade union movement. Issues do not sit separately from each other. Racism, sectarianism do not sit separately from poverty or political failure. They are interlinked. You cannot fight one and ignore the other and expect to achieve victory. So we must pull all those elements together, and we must build an effective fighting organisation, an organisation that is actively resisting capitalism and at all its features. NIPSA, I think, comrades, is playing its part at this point in time. We are a red union. I am pleased to say that the red flag flies over NIPSA headquarters. And I will close with this. When we fly that red flag, by the way, at our conference this year, our background slogan was "Workers of the World Unite." The red flags flew outside. The conference ended with the singing of the red flag, and the guest speakers were a speaker from a cross-community group on Palestine, a solidarity speaker from our comrades in Unite, and Tony Sanwa from the Committee for a Workers' International were the guest speakers at our conference. Comrades, when we fly the red flag, we are very clear about what that flag means, and this is our saying that goes with it. This is our flag. It is not a nationalist or a unionist flag. It does not belong to a country, a government, a political party, or a paramilitary group. It is a flag of the international workers' unity. Comrades, build the resistance, build the action, up the workers.